Chicago. Welcome in to another episode of Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. It's the bye week for the Bears. We don't have a Bears game to have to break down and discuss and dissect and figure out burns from our memory lane. I hope you got to enjoy your weekend. And there was some actual good stuff around the sports landscape in Chicago. The Bulls have won multiple games in a row without Zach Lavine, and one of them with DeMar DeRozan. Huh. Well, that's interesting. What does this mean for the Bulls on the west side going forward? Might we be seeing some addition by subtraction later this season when they do finally manage to trade Lavine? Where are we at with that? We'll check in on that. Northwestern had some fun with basketball over the weekend. They took down number 1 again. For the second year in a row, the Purdue Boilermakers fall to the Northwestern Wildcats. We will discuss that. And what does it look like for the Wildcats going into this season? They're off to a pretty decent start so far. Some final fallout from the Connor Bedard situation. And, of course, we're going to talk something here tonight. All that and more. Buckle it on up. Let's go. Good evening, everyone. Hello. Once again, I am your host, Adam Karnick. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here tonight. Lots to go through tonight. Since the Bears were on their bye week, we've got lots of things we're going to get to. We're going to talk some basketball. We're going to talk what is nominally professional basketball. We will get into some semi-professional basketball. Discuss some of those local teams. We'll get into a little bit of hockey, not too much hockey, I promise. We'll keep that light. We'll get into some bowl game setups as well, and we will talk some Bears before we get out of here tonight. Lots on the docket, lots on the agenda for us to do. Let's just dive right on into it, shall we? And of course, we need to start with our sponsor here at the network, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, the single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. This is some of the best jerky you can get your hands on. All you need to do is visit planetjerky.net to place your order. They offer free shipping on all orders of $50 or more. And whatever your palate is, they have got flavor that will hit the spot for you. From the savory smoke and barbecue style, sweet pepper teriyaki, volcanic jalapeno for those who are ready for some heat but don't want to go all the way, and then all the way up at the top, the Carolina Reaper. There is something there for you. Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. IE Sports Radio for the last 9 3/4 years now. IE Sports Radio has brought you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest in sports and with our shows. Also, check out our daily updated website, iesportsradio.com, for sports news, the IE Sports Radio blog, our Hall of Fame Fans of the Month pages dedicated to each of our shows, our IE Sports Radio Community Forum, and to stop by the shop and check out the merchandise. Thank you for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. This show, of course, is also available to you on social media. You can follow along on X at IESRC, or you can follow along with me personally on X. I am at Adam_Karnick. And for those of you listening live here on Monday night on Spreaker.com, hop on into the chat room. Taryn Rodriguez, the birthday boy, is there. You can hop on in and interact, have some fun back and forth that way. Or if you're listening later on in the week as a podcast on Spotify or YouTube, iHeartRadio, whatever your platform may be, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Let your friends know. Let your family know. Let's help this show to grow a little bit. Help others find their way here. I want to apologize first off before we get too far into the show if my voice sounds a little crackly tonight. I unfortunately spent the majority of the weekend sick. So I'm feeling a lot better, but my voice I know is not all the way back yet. So if I sound a little crackly or hoarse, I do apologize for that. We're gonna get through this tonight, but I just wanted to apologize up front in case you're going, what? Why does Adam sound different? Yeah, I'm still getting over a little bit of a flu bug. So Taryn in the chat room, the Bears cannot hurt me this past week. And Northwestern football got their you-know-what together. Yes, we're gonna dive into some of all that tonight. Lots that we're gonna get through on the show tonight. But I wanted to start the night off with the Bulls. The Bulls, of all teams, I would not have pegged the Bulls to be the next one to go on a 2-game winning streak. And I know our standards are really low when a 2-game winning streak is exciting in Chicago. But you look at it overall, and especially with the pro teams, those are the options that we got. The big one, of course, was last Thursday, hosting the Milwaukee Bucks, the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks. The Bulls went into the game, no Zach Lavine, no DeMar DeRozan. And they played easily their best game of the season. Vucevic led the way with 29 points and 10 rebounds. You had Kobe White with 23 points, including 4 3-pointers to lead the team. You had, listen to these assist numbers, okay? Kobe White, 7 assists. Vucevic, 6. Ayo Dosunmu, 6 assists. Alex Caruso, 5 assists. Excuse me, apologize. The team as a whole, 32 assists. 52 points in the paint. Outscored Milwaukee in the paint. And it wasn't like they didn't have Giannis. Giannis, 26 points, 14 rebounds. They had Dame Lillard, 18 points. Lillard was just 1 of 6 from three-point land. They did a good job of keeping him under control there. The Bucks had their players in there. Yet it was the Bulls that came out on top. Yeah, you had the late shot from Caruso to get him into overtime in the first place. But then they doubled them up 14-7 once they got to overtime. I would not have expected that from these Bulls. I just would not have expected to see that from these guys. And then they follow that up then. All right, so they huge win, but that means that just naturally means then 2 days later they're going to still be riding high off of that, and they're going to forget to play against the Pelicans, right? Wrong. The Pelicans come into town, and all right, they're not the best team, but they can certainly take advantage of a team that had all of 5 wins, all of 6 wins coming into the game. They can take advantage of that, can't they? Apparently not. 124-118 over the Pelicans. The Bulls 54.5% shooting from the floor, including 42% from 3, 17 of 40 from three-point land. And again, 32 assists. That's 64 assists in the last 2 games. After that they're averaging 23 a game. That's how few assists they've had on most. On most nights, it's of course just the ball goes to DeMar, the ball goes to Zach, and they play ISO ball and play hero ball for the majority of the game, and everybody else just turns and watches. So the Bulls giving us a glimpse of what life can look like without Zach Lavine in it. And it's team basketball, which is a strange concept around Chicago right now, which is an unusual thing with this program, with this team. So it's interesting. Now, I apologize for the frequent breaks. We may not wind up going the full hour tonight. My voice may not make it the whole way. Their next couple games are very winnable. They've got the Hornets coming into town here on Wednesday night. And then they go down to San Antonio and take on the Spurs, who, they have, the rookie Victor Wembanyama, but nothing else going for them. Then they got a little bit of a rough stretch after that. Then they've got the Nuggets, the Heat back. They've got the Bucks, the Nuggets, the Heat back-to-back games in Miami next week. Then the 76ers. They've got a rough stretch coming up later this month, but these next couple, they've got a chance to get a couple more wins under their belt, get a little bit more continuity going as a team, and see what happens here. I wouldn't expect anything to happen with Lavine anytime soon. We heard Adrian Woj, we heard Woj from ESPN talk about how there's not a market for Zach Lavine right now, and that's not surprising. Between his contract And then the fact that it's very difficult to trade a lot of guys in the NBA this early in the season. Basically, any free agent that you signed, you can't trade until December 15th at the earliest. Other ones, you might not even be able to trade until January 15th. So it's hard to properly gauge a market. And also, he's injured. He's not playing right now. So that all that adds up to a very understandable, they can't trade. It's not that they don't want to. They can't. There's nobody interested right now. I would expect that to change. Obviously, him coming back and playing is the easiest way to make that change. Have him play and play successfully. But if he can show that he can gel himself back into this offense that has suddenly figured out how to pass the ball effectively and efficiently to generate offense, you're talking 244 points in the last 2 games and 64 assists in that. 64 assists on how many made buckets? I didn't look that up before doing the show tonight. Let's see. They made 45 against the Bucks. And then they made 48 against the Pelicans. So that's 93 baskets. So 64 assists on 93 baskets. That's outstanding. That is terrific. You're basically 3 out of every 4 baskets that you're making, you're having an assist on that. That's good basketball. That's team basketball right there. That's something that you can win with. You can win because of stuff like that. Even without superior talent, you can win with that kind of effort from your team. So we'll see if Zach Lavine can fit his way into that style of play. That'll really help his trade market. Because obviously not only does somebody that he wants to play for got to come calling, the Bulls have to like what they hear on the other side too. They're not going to just trade him just to be rid of him. So some interesting things happening on the West Side. We'll keep an eye on them, and who knows? Maybe we'll have 2 more wins to discuss next week. All right, we are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk some more hoops, but we're going to talk about it at the semi-professional level. This is Chi-Town Weekly, part of IE Sports Radio. We will be right back right after this.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No, not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on The Defining Moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For a down south education on Florida sports and athletics, it's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey yo, what's up? It's your man Bishop, the voice of This Is KC Sports, the show where we go over the Chiefs, the Royals, KC Current, Sporting KC, MU, and oh yeah, if we got time, we'll even throw in some of that KU stuff from my people on the 913 South. Come and hang out with us every Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. They're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And once again, welcome back into Chi-Town Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam Karnick back here with you for a little bit more here tonight. We're going to see if we're able to go the full hour. My voice may have other plans. Talked a lot of Bulls there in the first segment. I want to stay with that theme of basketball, but we're going to switch over to the collegiate ranks for a second because Northwestern, boy, put it on the calendar. That conference play starts in December, and Northwestern knocks off number one. We'll just put it down in the calendar and mark it off that way. For the second year in a row, the Purdue Boilermakers come in ranked number one in the nation, and Northwestern knocks them off the pedestal. This time in Evanston, and it was in overtime this go around, 92-88. The Wildcats with the win over the Boilermakers. Purdue actually led at halftime 40-32 before Northwestern did what it needed to do to get the game tied at the end of regulation. And then Northwestern held on, outscoring them 16-12 in the extra time to get the win. Bowie led Northwestern 31 points for the fifth-year guard. He was 10 of 20 from the floor. Also a big night, Ryan Langborg, the senior from San Diego, California. Taryn, you should know right where I'm talking. Was 4 of 5 from three-point land to get 20 points on the night. Bowie also had a team-high 9 assists in the game. Ty Berry also had 4 assists on the night for Northwestern. And Northwestern, this is, it wasn't that long ago that Northwestern had never been to the NCAA tournament. They finally cracked that egg in 2017. And then Chris Collins got him there last year. And they're looking like the Big Ten always has lots of representation come March. And it feels like Northwestern, it wouldn't be wrong for Northwestern to be in that conversation again. Let's just look at the Big Ten standings for a minute. Yes, it's still early. Northwestern's only played 7 games at this point, but they're tied for first in the conference at 1-0 overall in the conference. Ohio State currently sits atop the Big Ten. They've played an extra game. They are 7-1 overall, but then Illinois, Indiana, Northwestern are all 6-1 and 1-0 in conference. They've got upcoming. They've got some non-conference games. Their next game, they should absolutely win their next. They should win their next 3, no problem at all. Hosting a winless Detroit Mercy team before then staying not only in state but staying in the exact Chicago in the Chicago market, hosting Chicago State, going over to DePaul. All 3 of those should be very easy, straightforward wins. Shouldn't have any trouble with those. And then they play Arizona State right before Christmas, and then host Jackson State right before New Year's. 4 of those for sure should be very easy victories for the Wildcats. Let's just say that's all it is. Let's say they drop the one against Arizona State. You're still undefeated in the conference because you only played the one game, but then you're 10-2 going into January when it's going to start getting real. I mean, Happy New Year. Here's Illinois. 20th ranked Illinois to start the season, to start off the new year. And then you get into, the heart of the meat of the Big Ten schedule. But it was a very impressive win for the Wildcats last week. Very much took me by surprise. Very pleasantly surprised to see that, to follow along with that and enjoy that a little bit. But Coach Collins has got something brewing here. I would not be surprised at all to see Northwestern as we get into 2024. They start off at 10-2 overall, and then they get into the heart of their Big Ten schedule. I also wouldn't be surprised if they're ranked, honestly, at that point. You look at the rankings right now. First of all, they knocked Purdue from 1 down to 4 with that. You've got some surprising schools ranked in here too. Of course, the top are all the ones we're used to: Arizona, Kentucky, Houston, Baylor, Gonzalez. We're used to seeing those. But Creighton is 10th. Florida Atlantic is 11. Colorado State is 13. James Madison is 18 in the nation. Some crazy schools getting ranked here. Good for them. Good for them. Mix things up a little bit. Good for them. Good for college basketball. Northwestern's not that far away from getting ranked. As it sits right now, they would be, if the rankings went out this far, they'd be 29th. They'd be inside the top 30 for sure. They're not in the top 25, but they're in the top 30. They've got some a ways to go yet before they would be ranked, but keep stacking some wins like this, Northwestern, and it'll happen. It'll happen. Especially if they can, then take out Illinois then that first game back in the new year down in Champaign too. That'll be a doozy. That'll be a fun one. That'll be a good one to get everything started with. Some other Northwestern news from this weekend. We did get we did hear where Northwestern will be playing. Before we get to that, speaking of Boo Buie, the fifth-year guard for Northwestern was named the Big Ten Men's Basketball Player of the Week for that performance in the win over previous number 1 Purdue. So congratulations to Boo Buie on winning that one that was announced earlier this afternoon. So congratulations to him on that. Elsewhere for Northwestern, we have heard some of the bowl. A lot of the bowl announcements have all happened now at this point. So Northwestern has got its bowl destination set. The Wildcats, crazy season, it did become bowl eligible. They will be headed to Las Vegas just before Christmas to play against the Utah Utes in the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. So the Wildcats football team isn't done yet either. We'll get to see them in a couple of weeks out in the desert taking on Utah. So good for them once again on a job surprisingly well done this season for the Wildcats. All right. We are going to take another break and give my voice a chance to try and recover a little bit here. You are listening to Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit of Blackhawks, wrap up some of the Corey Perry situation. I'm very impressed. Those who've listened for a while, first of all, thank you. Second of all, you know that I've been impressed by Connor Bedard's play on the ice. He impressed me off the ice last week as well. We'll get into that, and we'll talk a little bit of Bears before we get out of here. This is Chi-Town Weekly, part of IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you looking for a sports show that maybe isn't 100% about sports?
Then you might want to check out the Sports Couple Perspectives right here on IE Sports Radio. your direct feed for all that is sports.
Most sports shows cover only scores and stats, and while we're not opposed to that, we dig a little deeper into sports issues and some of the hottest topics in athletics.
In addition to sports, we take a journey through my neck of the woods, pop culture, with movie reviews of both sports and non-sports films.
Speaking of pop culture, make sure to participate in our game nights, where we quiz each other on our specialties, and you, the listeners, can win IE Sports Radio apparel.
We always have a great time learning more about each other's worlds, one show at a time.
So join us each week on the Sports Couple Perspectives, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What up, Boston sports fans? This is Mikey Two Guns here, your host of Our Bleepin' City, airing every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Please join me. We'll talk everything Boston sports, all the local teams, college teams. I'm even down to talk MMA, boxing, whatever you guys want. So join me every Wednesday night, 7 to 8 p.m. Chime in with your questions on the chat, tweet the show. We'll even have call-ins. I can't wait to hear from you guys. This is going to be a lot of fun. So once again, it's Our Bleepin' City. I am your host, Mikey Two Guns, every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. See you soon, people.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU. I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right. Welcome to AZ Sports Daily. I'm your host, Kieran Daly, bringing the heat to Arizona sports. There's no discrimination here. We're going to talk about every sports team, professional and college. The show is all about you, the listener. I'm here to entertain you. Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? It's going to be fun, high energy. You may not agree with what I say. That's okay. Let me hear you. Let's talk about it. Join me every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on AZ Sports Daily. That's AZ Sports, D-A-L-E-Y, and at IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam Kernick with you here for, well, we'll see how much more my voice holds out here tonight, but hopefully for another 15 minutes or so before we turn things over to Taryn Rodriguez of Set Point, getting us caught up on everything happening in the world of volleyball. I wanted to talk as we get started in the last segment here, and of course this segment, like all segments on this show, brought to us also by Premium Brisket Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. I wanted to talk about Connor Bedard and the Blackhawks a little bit. The on-ice stuff has not been going well for the Hawks. They had themselves a very rough road trip over the weekend. Lost to the Wild 4-1. They lost to Winnipeg 3-1, and they lost to the Red Wings 5-1. So 3 road games, 3 blowouts. They scored a grand total of 3 goals. And when Bedard's line was not out on the ice, they failed to score at all. The Hawks will next take the ice tomorrow night. They're back home against the Nashville Predators. We'll see if they're able to get anything going there against the Preds. They've got a few games here at home coming up here this month. This is kind of nice. Their next 4 are all at home, so a chance to try to get a few wins under their belt. They've got the Predators tomorrow. Then they have the Ducks, who at one point were one of the hottest teams in hockey. They have dropped off significantly. They had dropped 8 in a row before winning over the weekend. They've got them coming in later this week. Then they host the Blues, the Blues and the Capitals this weekend, and then they'll before next Monday night they head out to Edmonton to take on the Oilers, and then they head out west to take on the Oilers and then the Kraken next week. So an opportunity here to maybe get a few wins under their belt. We've talked recently about the Corey Perry situation, and we had the resolution of that last week when we did, the Wednesday show, as opposed to the regular Monday show last week. But one thing we didn't talk a whole lot about was Connor Bedard, because, of course, the weird thing, of course, that came up with the whole Corey Perry situation was made so much worse by the internet troll rumors that were going around social media, Reddit specifically. But it then it just got picked up everywhere. And Bedard had to talk about it with the Winnipeg media about how specifically he and his family had to deal with the rumors of Bedard and his family being the reason that Corey Perry was scratched. And I'm trying to find, here we go. Ben Pope, friend of the program from the Chicago Sun-Times, wrote an excellent article about it, and I wanted to kind of just bring it up and highlight a little bit. Listen to some of the things that Connor Bedard, who, remember, he's 18, when he was when this situation got brought up by the Winnipeg media in advance of their game this weekend. This is Bedard. Quote, "When you've got the attention on you, stuff's going to happen. Whether you did nothing or you're not involved in the situation at all, somehow it's all about you. That's not fair, but that's how life works." He got asked another question about it. "I don't need to answer any more questions about this stuff. Obviously, it's all just a bunch of BS on the internet. It's of course had an effect on myself and my family, but who cares? It's out of our control, and it's all just fake, made-up stuff. It's whatever. Like I said, stuff gets out there, and people want to make jokes. Obviously, what happened with Perry is serious, and the first concern is he's okay and his family is okay. It's not great, but it's out of our control. I don't need to talk too much further on it." It's an 18-year-old kid. Just the poise, the demeanor, the maturity from this young man. He's barely a man. He'd only turned 18 not even 5 months ago. This is his first time back home as a professional. He had a lot of fans in attendance, too, in that game in Winnipeg. Remember, he played amateur hockey with the Regina Pats. There were a lot of Regina fans who were in the crowd and cheering him on during the game. But certainly this was not what he was expecting to talk about when he circled this date on the calendar, that date on the calendar. What a way of handling it, though. What a mature young man. He may only be 18, but he is mature beyond his years. Just another proud moment for young Connor Bedard, and I am so glad that he is with the organization, with the Blackhawks. So good on him. All right, I am going to try to make it to the end of the show here. Hopefully my voice doesn't completely give out here. I did want to talk a little bit of Bears just before we get out of here because, they're playing the Lions again. I promise, Taryn, I'm not going to bring up the Lions-Chargers game this time. I brought it up last time because it was relevant to the Bears. It's not this time, okay? Taryn got upset at me because the Lions had beaten the Chargers right before they played the Bears. It is kind of weird playing the same team twice in the span of 3 games, twice in the span of 4 weeks. And even though the Bears lost, honestly, there's nothing from that game plan from a few weeks ago that I would change. That is, I know you did. I know you missed that part of it, Taryn. I'm just giving you a hard time. There is nothing from that game plan that I would change. I'll be perfectly honest. They had the right game plan, both defensively for attacking the Lions, and then offensively, of what to do with Justin Fields and how to play the pass game. They went away from that drastically against the Vikings because they were terrified of Brian Flores and the never-ending blitz. We had conversations about that last week of how I feel they should have attacked that blitz. But I would say go right back to that game plan you had 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, whatever it was for that game. Go right back to that game plan because it worked. Yeah, you lost the game, but make Detroit prove to you that they figured out how to stop it. Have a counterattack in mind of, well, if I were going to try to stop this, and this is the kind of defense I ran, here's what I would do. Okay, so then how would you counter that? Well, then I would do this. Great. Have that preparation in mind, but come out with that exact same game plan you used out in Detroit, out at Ford Field, because it worked. It worked really well. That's one the Bears should have won. Instead, they didn't, and we had to deal with that fallout, which we did. But hopefully this time when Jared Goff throws it to Jalen Johnson, Johnson doesn't drop it. Hopefully the defense is able to slam the door, and hopefully when they get down to needing a drive with 5 minutes left, they trust Justin to just go win them the damn game. Hopefully that'll happen this go around, and then we'll have another 2-game winning streak that we'll get to celebrate here on the show. Well, this time it'll be the Bears. Yay! Here's hoping, right? That is going to do it for our show here tonight. I'm going to cut it off. Voices saying I had enough. Thank you once again to our sponsors, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Go visit them on planetjerky.net. Again, you get free shipping on all orders of $50 or more. Thanking them for sponsoring the show and sponsoring the network. Thanking Larry B. all the hard work he does behind the scenes, keeping the station organized, up and running, and moving in the right direction. thanking Taryn, the birthday boy, for hanging out in the chat room with me. His birthday was over the weekend, but still. He will be celebrating now by doing an episode of his favorite show, Set Point, breaking down everything happening in the volleyball world. Trust me, if it's happening, he knows about it, and he'll tell you all about it. Come on, right up here next on ID Sports Radio, so be sure to stay tuned for that. I will next be on tomorrow evening with my co-host Zach Lavine. We will be talking more hockey, breaking down everything in the hockey world over on the Neutral Zone. That'll be basically this time tomorrow night. So I will see everybody here in about 24 hours or so. Next week, hopefully we're talking about a Bears victory. I hope so. 2 divisional wins in a row. I'm not sure how to celebrate that. Hopefully I'll have reason to, and I'll come up with something. We'll also keep in touch with the Bulls, see how they were doing, and winter meetings are underway down in Nashville for baseball. Maybe Shohei Ohtani will be a Cub this time next week. Ooh, wouldn't that be fun? Still, we will have all kinds of things to talk about next week. Until then, thank you for coming here and listening here tonight or later on in the week as a podcast. However you listen, thank you for taking time out of your week to spend it with me. I really do appreciate it. Until then, we will see you next time. Be healthy, be safe, and have a good week.